Welcome back to the Week in Review, ladies and gentlemen, and I've been waiting for this one for a long time. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
All right, welcome back. We're with the one and only. It's Echo the Truth. And boy, has this guy been dropping truth bombs like crazy. Echo, how are you this morning?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much, Brad. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, brother.
Hey, man, it's so great to have you here. Look, I got a chance to meet you in person. First, let me back up. The first time I saw you, for a short period of time, it was so quick, people probably don't even know that I had a TikTok account for a minute. Then I read the terms of service and I had to get off of there. But nevertheless, I was on there for a quick second. And while I was on there, I saw this guy Echo the Truth. And man, I'd listened to you and I was like, man, I love this guy's energy. First of all, you're upbeat. You're a happy guy. You're super smart. I was like, you're turning people on to stuff. You're giving them information. I was like, you know what, man? I was like, I want to meet this dude. And then I had the pleasure to do exactly that, other than being in a live stream on TikTok with you probably 2 years ago. I had the pleasure of meeting you in person at XRP Las Vegas 2024. And what an honor it was, man. It was a pleasure to meet you, man.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. I mean, to be honest with you, Brad, I like before, I have looked up to you for many years and the leadership that you have done for the community, right? And so for me, whenever I came into the space, I wanted to bring that energy as well because, there's other, throughout the whole entire community, the community is so much more massive than anybody really anticipates, right? And in this world that we live in, I've learned that there is a lot of darkness in this world, and you got to bring that light. And it only takes a few of us that can actually bring that light, especially during dark time. So, you being one of them, me, other individuals in the space as well. It takes all of us collectively together to bring that energy and to keep the morale up. So me meeting you and you hosting the XRP Las Vegas event was such a big deal for the whole entire community, right? That's why I'm there to help support you, help support the community that surrounds around you and information that you share. And I'm so happy and very thrilled to be here with you today.
Oh, man, it's such a pleasure and an honor. And I thank you for the kind words, man. You never know who's listening and how it'll affect them or yourself. You know what I mean? And that's such an amazing thing, to really understand that connection that you've had with someone else. And I get to meet you, and I just think it's amazing. And boy, did I see a lot of people around you at XRP Las Vegas too. I was like, there's a couple of times it's like, well, I'll catch him later. He's very busy right now, just like a mob of people around him. I'm like, nah, I'll get with him later. But look, I know that we don't have long, and I know that you're a busy guy, and you're doing some amazing things in the XRP space outside of your channel, and I want to celebrate that about you before we get out of here today. But today, let's talk about this and start here. The SAB121 rule that was re-voted on to overthrow the veto from President Biden. And just to level set for people who don't know, SAB 121 was a rule to prohibit banks from custodying crypto that Gary Gensler wrote inside of the Securities Exchange Commission and really wasn't allowed to. He just made it up. Talk about that a minute, Echo.
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, they issued that back in March of 2022, right? And, it's so that banks can, actually have to safeguard the cryptocurrency, which I believe, banks in the future will become the custodialship of crypto, right? Now, the one thing that I do, I even criticize about it is that, like you mentioned, the SEC, Gary Gensler, sticking in his hands and putting his information in there because we all know everything, especially in the XRP community, right? Everything to do with Gary Gensler and the SEC. So, it kind of steered me off about the whole entire, SOB 20 or 121. But I do believe that, regulation does need to happen. Now, do I want the oversight of the SEC? Not necessarily. They haven't really shown, and I believe that you can agree to, they haven't really shown that, they're capable of doing so, right? So, SOB 121 to me is kind of like, okay, well, maybe that needs to be put on the back burner just a little bit, get some, a little bit more clarity, before that one gets issued in, because, we do have the CFTC, we have that regulations on that end. So, SOB 121 wasn't really, it wasn't really surprising to me that, they actually just vetoed it out and it didn't go through.
And Rostin Benham from the CFTC had something to say yesterday about what he thought about crypto. Tell us about that.
Well, man, dude, as soon as I saw that video, I was like, oh my goodness, it's happening. It is going to happen. You have the chairman of the CFTC coming out stating that 70 to 80% of cryptocurrencies are not classified as securities, right? And this includes Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. Now, he didn't say XRP, but we know in the back of the mind, it's going to be XRP too, because XRP is not a security.
Amen. Amen, brother. There's so much taking place in the works. I literally just caught a clip from Paul Barron. Shout out to Paul Barron's show. And it was Mike Belshey, the CEO of BitGo. And he was referencing the SAB-121 not being overturned. And he said, and these were the words he said, Biden interrupted the vote and told everyone that there's already something to solve this SAB-121 problem. It's the FIT21 Act. So now we know that we can't trust this administration, or any administration if it's me talking. But we know that we can't trust the government. So words mean very little. What does mean something is actions. And it's very confusing because now there's this point where you have to trust. Well, I don't, right? And they're saying that we voted it to not overturn the veto because the FIT21 bill can solve this problem in a more broad sense for the crypto market. And I say, well, then why was the SAB 121 bill written or rule written to begin with, right? Because the FIT21 bill was out. So, the real deal here is that I don't trust any of them. If they want to prove out, they need to pass the bill, the FIT21 Act, because it will put the SEC back in their respective lane. And, I find it funny that Rostin Benham says 70 to 80% of the crypto market is commodities. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, have you ever met Gary Gensler, Rostin? I'm just curious, right? Have you ever met this man? Because there's obviously a huge disconnect between the SEC's belief and the CFTC. There's a part of me that also believes every single bit of what we're seeing here is theater that's been created to motivate Congress, because Congress won't act unless there is a problem that cannot be solved. And now we're seeing that is exactly what's been created by the SEC's constant overreach to force Congress into a position to finally do the thing that they get a check for every month.
It's terrible. I mean, it's terrible when you think about it, because all we want is that regulatory clarity so that we can move along forward, right? Stop innovation from, everybody, they're just wanting, in my opinion, they're wanting to stop innovation from happening and from flourishing, right? And, in my opinion, this is not going to turn out well for any one of the parties, right? Or anybody that's not on the blockchain space, because blockchain is developing on the back end. It's not stopping, right? This thing is continuously growing on the back end when it comes to developers and it comes to, building on these projects and networks on the back end, right? So in the front end, okay, we do need these regulatory clarities. We want these regulatory oversight, but we need it to be precise so we know that what we're doing is correct, and we're not going to come down and get the hammer put down on us. But until that actually happens, we can't stop continuing to build, because that's what, in my opinion, that's what they want us to do, right? They want to continue to maintain control over the system, right? Of what crypto and blockchain. But the problem is that in my opinion, they come in too late. And this thing is if you're not going to make a decision, we're going to make the decision for you type ordeal. And just like you mentioned, Congress is going to have to step in. Absolutely, 100%. And if Congress doesn't step in, then the people will step in. And I believe the people and you've seen it, the people have a massive voice.
The people have a massive voice. There's no question about it. And to the point that you're making, I think we're about to see worlds collide, because you're working on something in the development world, in the XRP ledger world, which is amazing. And I think that, with the suggestion from Biden, it's interesting, right? We just had this secret crypto meeting, which was not so secret on purpose, I believe, right? And they all go to speak to the Biden administration about why they've been so anti-crypto, right? And to tell them why we need this digital asset space. And what I find interesting about that is that, and then on the other side of it, we hear that Biden has interrupted the vote on the SAB121 rule to tell them, hey, FIT21 Act, just pass that. It'll handle it, right? So that's a suggestion that, look, we're down with crypto all of a sudden. Let's put the FIT21 Act through, which is great. Let's do that. But all of that to say that if we see them do that, because if they do that, the only reason that they're doing that in this particular moment is because Donald Trump has come out politically and grabbed the crypto voter and brought it into his camp. And now they're looking to raise their head and go, no, actually we are for crypto. We just passed the FIT21. Let's pass that, right? Which had massive bipartisan support in the House. So it needs to pass the Senate and then be signed by the president and not vetoed the way the SAB121 was. So in light of that, if they pursue the FIT21 to pass it to get credit for it in the Dem side of the aisle, then they can take credit for passing it and unlocking the logjam before the election and hope to bring those votes back home. But more importantly, whoever passes it will open the door to invite all the technicians, all the builders, all the developers, all the innovators to come to this space, not just the XRP ledger, but the XRP ledger as well, right? Because they know that once you get that clarity, no one's coming after me anymore. No longer do I have to get up every day wondering if someone's going to sue me next, right? Because you don't have to be doing something wrong to get sued. Because the SEC has lost a string of cases of late, but that didn't stop them from suing someone for doing nothing wrong. Look at Ripple, they've done nothing wrong. So it's a situation where we got to be very careful, but I do believe that we're about to see a union of the top down and the bottom up that has existed for more than a decade. We get that legislation, you're going to bring the top down and invite them with that clarity to join this new technology. And when you do, you're going to create a lot of new problems when they onboard. And then that is going to be the moment for a developer and an innovator and a builder to say, you know what? Now that you're here, I can see a problem that needs to be solved. And that's what we're talking about, aside from the fact that I want to see something that is built on the XRP ledger that all of us can use and have a reason to use every single day. And you're working on something like that right now, aren't you?
Yeah, so definitely, absolutely. I'm not going to speak too much on it.
Yeah, don't give away the farm, Echo, but just speak to the macro idea that you're working on building a use case that's daily for the XRP ledger.
Correct. So I'm envisioning a way that we can all be able to send and receive XRP just by having our by having our cell phones. And I know when I say that, we have our Zamen wallet, but more so a centric location of where we can all be housed at as a community, and just to test things out, right? To be able to it's hard not to say what I'm doing.
Don't do that, because you're not ready to reveal it. But you're working on something that will bring a daily use case to the XRP community and ledger, and that's what's missing. If people want to make a splash in this world, solve a problem that everybody in the space and outside the space finds need to use that particular new solution every single day, right? If it solves a problem for me every day, I'm going to use it every single day. Now, it's a very simple thing, but listen, I come from a development side of the world too. I'm not a developer, but I am a creator. I created an app years ago for the state of Maryland and a program that was going on here. Now, I hired a developer to do the things that I wanted done. But again, I went after a situation after we received legal clarity in the state. And then I was able to pursue my idea, hired a developer, built the solution because I got the clarity that was needed. See, people think I'm singing on wing and a prayer here. I'm coming from experience. You know what I mean? I've done this lack of legal clarity business before in another industry. And I won't say it here because YouTube will probably strike you for it. But the reality is such that I've witnessed this in another arena. And we're about to see it happen again. So I know I'm not guessing because I watched what happened then, and I'm about to watch it again a second time. And when we get the clarity, there's going to be a Cambrian explosion, as Chris Larson has said, that will create mass adoption like we've never witnessed before in history. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So going back on it, my goal whenever I came on to start not just creating content, but came on, building the community was that, hey, I wanted to help onboard 1 million people onto the XRP ledger. So with that always being one of my main goals that I always had, right? Speaking about XRP is great. But solving that problem, that use case, like you mentioned, that was always a core factor, something that I needed. I just needed to find that solution. So, there are several different applications, and even anybody that's watching this right now, the whole entire thing of entrepreneurship, right, is if there's a problem, right, how do you fix that problem in a scalable way? If you can fix that in a scalable way, you have a business plan. Right, you have that business plan, or you had that business idea. You just had to build the plan around it. And what I did, and what we were talking about earlier, was that I saw this idea. We have a problem. Let's go ahead and test everything out. Now, everything is all being tested out on the back end, but I'm not going to stop just because that we don't have clear regulatory clarity. Like you mentioned, we have two worlds colliding, right? You have one world that wants just all this strong regulatory oversight. We don't have that in what we have yet, right? But we have everyone that wants to build. Okay, so I like to say that we have two worlds, two ledgers running that simultaneously right now. Okay, eventually those two ledgers are going to collide, right? You're gonna have whatever your institution and your retail, you're going to see that happen because we're not going to stop. Or you could sit here and say it's your retail and your developers, right? The creators of the space. That's not going to stop even if we don't have regulatory clarity yet, because the fact that once that regulatory clarity comes in, if we're going down the right path, if we've done our research and we're not breaking the rules, from the extent of like, okay, seeing what's in front of us, then when we get those regulatory clarity, we're going to go ahead and flip that switch on our end,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A really good key. Oh, sorry, I was going to say really good key example, right? The SEC mentions, right? The SEC just dropped the case against, Binance and Paxo for the BUSD, right? The stablecoin. Like you mentioned, they have lost case after case after case, right? If Binance and Paxo would have stopped and didn't make their stablecoin, they wouldn't be in where they are right now. Same thing for the DebtBot case. The DebtBot case as well. They're building a phenomenal product as well. The SEC went after them, right, for security reasons, and they lost that case too. So
For
it's kind of
lying.
like, yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, so I'm over here like, well, if all of these companies and all of these projects would have just stopped just because of the simple fact that the SEC went after them, they would have never be at where they're at right now. And now they have beaten the SEC. We're starting to get regulatory clarity. And once, as long as you're just following the rules that are set in front of us and consciously knowing that, hey, you're doing the right thing, eventually, in my opinion, I'm a man of God, right? So I feel like that eventually down the line, you're gonna get rewarded, right? Because the fine line, where you have to stand at, right? Unfortunately, there's the powers that be that wants that control over it, but you have to play their game, right? To the extent of saying, okay, well, I don't want y'all to go away, right? To an extent, I just don't want y'all to control me. I want to be able to fix things that have a problem. I want to be able to come and solve this problem, this multi-trillion-dollar problem, just like Ripple, coming in, right? And Brad had mentioned several times that they don't have a problem with this. We understand that the central banking system has flaws, right? But instead of sitting here saying that we want to just get rid of everything, let's go ahead and see if we can fix this. If we can come in and fix this, then we don't have to have this apocalyptic idea that everybody believes is going to happen. No, we can have something much more flourish and much more vibrant, right? The unfortunate part is that, the powers that be don't want to give up those powers of control. This is where we're seeing that regulatory fight in those two worlds. But, it's going to be a magical thing to see whenever everything gets unfolded.
Yeah, and I don't think we're far from it, to be honest with you, because like I said, I think we're looking at a squeeze play. The pressure is on the Biden administration to get the FIT21 bill put through so they can get credit for it before the elections, when the current president challenging Trump is coming in saying, no, I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to take care of it. So now it's a fight for this thing to really be dealt with, to who's going to get the credit for unlocking the innovation in this country, because that's really what we've come down to now. And I love that this has always been a talking point, but now this has become a campaign issue. So this has now become something that cannot be just forgot about, right? This has become something that must be dealt with. And did we mention the CME news yet? Did we talk about that?
We did not mention it. You drop it on us, Brad. Let's go.
All right. So listen, man. So I want your thoughts on this. So we see Brad Garlinghouse come out after the CME announces late yesterday that they are going to list XRP's reference rate on the CME Group, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is the largest derivatives platform either in the U.S. or the world. So, Echo, your thoughts, please.
I hate to say I told you so.
No, go ahead, because I love that you say it.
No, but for real, I mean, we're seeing everything happen in real time now. Everything that we've ever envisioned, that we've ever talked about over the past many years that we've been on the platforms and making content, right? So it's funny to see like this actually start taking fruition, but it's nothing, for me, it's not a surprise. When I saw the news, I was happy, of course, right? Yeah. But for the most part, I was like, well, what's the next step? What's the next step in the storyline? Because when you've been indulged and you understand how the financial markets actually are work and how it entwines, then you can see, okay, well, this was going to be bound to happen, yeah. Right? The CME news, great, because that just gives more, in my opinion, clarification on the direction of where XRP is going to be. We know what's going to happen. Exactly. We know what is going to happen. You can't, there's a hashtag that everybody talks about is nothing can stop what is coming, which is completely 100% true. And when I reference that hashtag, I reference it as far as technology and this, XRP and what it's doing, right? Yeah. So, when you're talking about tapping into the derivative market, the derivative market is over $1 trillion, or no, it's what, 600 right now. It's like $624 trillion market cap.
Oh, is that all?
Market? No, there's more. There's way more than that. But just on the U.S. debt clock, which I reference a lot on my platform, right?
Love that too, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot of people need. I tell a lot of people you need, if you're not entwined with the financial system or knows what's going on, go to that website and look. You're going to see all these numbers, but what you should do is start questioning, right? One of the questions that everybody should be asking is, what is a derivative? What is credit swaps, right? Because believe it or not, that's actually the largest market out there. Now, when it comes to the CME and XRP, right? XRP provides liquidity for the market. Okay, right now in central banking and in the market, we have a lack of liquidity. Okay, so I always think to myself, what is the most liquid asset that we have out there at the moment in time that's frictionless, right? That can be sent across borders in a few seconds, that's cheap, fast, and secure, that has never been down in over a decade, that has stand at least the test of time that has been here. And I only think about the XRP ledger. Look, I love what Bitcoin has done,
Sure. Of
I've done
course.
what Ethereum have done. I've done what all of these other cryptocurrencies have done as far as the innovation in this space, right? But it doesn't meet all the check marks yet. Okay, there's only one ledger that does do that. So whenever I saw that the CME and the information regarding the derivative, I'm like, well, we have a $625 trillion market that needs to be attacked right now to provide liquidity to, right? Whether you believe that the derivative market is an online casino to the banks, which I believe so it is, because this is where they have the contract out on shorting and longing future contracts and options and everything, right? And this is where like the ETFs and everything come into as well. You need that liquidity in the market. And no matter what, institutions want to come in, right? And with that information that was shared from CME, you're starting to see that, they wouldn't have put that out there if they weren't trying to, tell you direction that we're about to go down. And institutions are going to start flooding in, right? Again, institutions don't care about retail. Like, I want to address one thing clearly too. Like, institutions don't care about retail. And what I mean by that is they're not out there telling us that they're using XRP. Everybody wants them to say that. They don't care about that. All they want is to improve their product,
That's right.
right? If actually, to be honest with you, if the price of XRP is low for them, it's better because they can accumulate and buy more, you know? So if that's the case, right, they're just all they want to do is be able to utilize the product, utilize the network, okay? And if the price is low right now, continue to do so while everything while nobody's really talking about it, okay? But eventually the lid of this whole entire thing is going to be unraveled, and then when that happens, right, then you're going to see an influx of everything. You're going to see everything just explode, in my opinion. So the ones that are been holding on for many years are going to be the ones rewarded because not only have we been keeping up with the information, we've been building, we've been staying strong on what is unfolding right before our very eyes, right? Because it's one thing to say it, right? But it's another thing to see it happen. And a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, we want to see it happen
Yeah.
before we jump in. And in my opinion, like, when, right? When XRP is over a dollar, $20, $100, when do you want to jump in? The information, whether you're reading information from the BIS, right? The Bank of International Settlement, you're reading information from, from documents from Mecca, right? You're hearing David Schwartz come out specifically stating, the issues that we have in our current monetary environment and what they're looking to fix, or what Ripple is looking to fix. It's kind of like, and you get the clarity that we have that we're not a security. It's kind of like, if you're just looking at the price of XRP, then it's kind of like you're completely ignoring everything that is aside because
Right.
and yeah, in my opinion, and I actually had a great conversation with a gentleman a few months back, and we were talking about how XRP is not just currency, right, but it's data, and because every single piece of XRP that's sent, and you're sending it as data, sending back and forth.
That's right.
And in
Yeah.
our new world, right, that new ledger that's coming in, all it is data. And if data is the new oil in the new world, what's
It
the
is.
value of data?
Yeah. Well, data is the new gold, new oil of the world. There's no question about that. Yeah. No
Hmm.
question about that, Echo. And to your point about the CME, I just want to add to that. It's like knowing that the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the largest derivatives platform in marketplace, is going to list the reference rate for XRP is the biggest signal to let everybody know that they're going to use it. Institutions are going to want to know this reference rate because they're going to want to use it. That's the reason that the CME is not listing the price of the drum set that I want to sell right now, right? Because it's not relevant to what they're doing. But it is why they want to list XRP, because they know institutions are going to have a demand for it. So that's why they're preparing to list that reference rate now. And what a remarkable moment that is. And I want to sum up with this thought. Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and David Schwartz are some of the greatest developers to ever live in the world. I think that's hands down. I don't think anyone would ever argue with that, right? And I know that there's a bigger bucket and a bigger table with some other great developers too. But just for the sake of the creators of the XRP ledger are Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and David Schwartz. And then you got Ryan Fugger there, had that app too. But let's just go with those three for the moment. What they have built and what it has led to today is remarkable. But even the greatest developers in the world have hit a roadblock, and it's legislation. And seeing the CME group list XRP tells me we're about to get legislation, because you don't list that asset unless it's about to have clarity to where the institutions can use it. Otherwise, you don't list it on a platform that institutions need a reference rate for, right? So, this is getting super good, super quick. And I love it because if you think this is something what those guys have been able to build up until now, just you wait and watch what happens, what legislation unlocks. Because what does everybody think Ethereum exploded for? Just smart contracts? No. Ethereum exploded with developers and layer twos and all of this because it got a free pass from William Hinman at the SEC. And there was perceived clarity there that said, I can go build here, just not over here. And pretty soon, we're about to take all of that away so that the crooked corruption, coercion, and all of this can start to be tamped down truly instead of nurtured by the SEC and Gary Gensler and all the previous crooked people that were there beforehand. Because it's obvious to me as an investigator that worked on ETHgate and all of that stuff, I've seen enough to know that there's absolute corruption and coercion and all of this market manipulation going on. And we need to get that legislation so we can unlock all of this and see the true full intended use of things like the XRP ledger and what it's going to do for the institutional side of this equation. Because we've seen the grassroots side and it's amazing. But what that's going to do by bringing the institutions in to fuel the grassroots side is going to be unimaginable how incredible it's going to be.
Absolutely. And the institutions is the money.
That's right.
You retail is only a portion of
That's
it.
right. That's right.
And I don't want to be heartless when I say this, but the institutions don't care about retail.
That's correct.
It's not saying that they don't care care like that. It's just saying that they have a mission that they are focused on.
Yeah,
right?
and I think you're right. They do not care about us as humans either. They want the money in your pocket, and they don't give a shit what happens to you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with them referencing that, it's kind of like, like you mentioned, there's a lot of cricket, information or a lot of cricket things that have happened in the blockchain space, right? And I believe in the future, we're not going to have that anymore, right? Seeing the information I've seen on the ledger and on other blockchains, they're stopping, that from happening in the future. Because again, if we're about to go into this new world where, it's not only decentralized, but it stops all of that, terrible, crookedness that's going on. Then we're not. They got one shot at this, and they're gonna do it the right way, right? This is why I feel like that the story, this movie that we're in, it's just been dragged out, right? But they needed to test the waters to make sure that, okay, well, who's actually where and who is actually doing what and what is doing who, right? So we can actually go ahead and eliminate you from the equation, okay, and start gathering the real people that really want the innovation in the space.
Yep.
Okay, because there are developers, right, and that are developing at a rapid rate. I always reference this, like what we're going through is the battle, or it's the battle of, like, not the battle of the nerds, but the nerds are battling the laws, right? They're the ones that, like, hey, I see something's wrong and I want to fix this, right? So, you can call them developers, you can call them nerds, right? But in my opinion, me, I'm a nerd too. So that's why I'm referencing it.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
So it's like the nerds are going to win this game, right? We're the ones that are sitting in the background, like coding information and trying to see, okay, well, you have a problem here. Let me go ahead and solve this one. Okay. And that's going to, when you have this, the CME, just coming in and just, dropping that information, unlocking that for us, right? You're gonna see this influx of I mean, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be godlike.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty massive, no doubt about it. Echo the truth, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Digital Perspectives. This has been a long time in the making, Echo, and I'm so glad that you're here. Echo, tell everybody how they can find you and follow you for more.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to find me? You can follow me on almost every single social media platform. The largest platform, or one of the largest platforms I have, is either on TikTok or over on X. Right. Predominantly, I'm over on X because that's pretty much where the central hub is now, the town hall. But for the most part, that's where you all can find me.
No doubt about it. Echo the truth, and he's dropping truth bombs all the time. And be on the lookout for the new project that he's working on. We can't wait to learn more. Echo the truth, thank you for being here today. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.